and enable my.
This is where we'll make sure to adjust the video sometimes, folks. And as funny now, we're welcoming in our Facebook Live group in. And so if you're just joining us here on the live stream, we're starting off with sort of that breakdown. We'll continue to add to all of our reporting on wave3.com, all of our different platforms. The JCPS budget draft being adopted, $140 million in cuts on the table. Still to be determined if that all is going to be included whenever the district board approves that budget for the 26-27 school year coming up in May. We do have more stories to get to if you're just joining us here on the live stream where we're incorporating our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X audience. So we know 6 minors and 1 adult are now under arrest for yesterday's robbery at a Jeffersontown gun store. But this is the one image we could find of the adult, 18-year-old Acacia Brown, facing a charge of receiving stolen property. And there's security video from the Everything Concealed Carry gun store from early yesterday morning. It caught 3 people removing the AC unit to then break into the business. The doors were closed and then steal more than a dozen guns. Now, this is what we're learning from police, that 9 hours after the burglary happened, police stopped a car on Dixie Highway at Wilson Avenue. There were 4 people inside, including Brown. Police found 4 guns inside the car. 3 were stolen from Everything Concealed Carry. Brown telling police that she didn't know there were guns in the car, but she's still, along with 6 juveniles, so under the age of 18, all arrested for receiving stolen property. A judge set Brown's bond at $5,000, and she's expected back in court on January 29th. In another story update, we're waiting to learn the name of the person who was unfortunately killed in a hit and run last night near Houck's Point. LMPD tells us this was just before 10 as they were trying to cross Breckenridge Lane. Officers say the car involved, though, the car who hit this victim, did not stay at the scene. The victim died before they could then be taken to the hospital to try to save their life. Officers are asking that if you saw something or know who could have been the driver of the other vehicle, to call LMPD's anonymous tip line and see if that you can help investigators resolve this. In another update, there's a second arrest in what was a deadly shooting in PRP days before Christmas, and court documents we're looking at reveal this could be a, quote, revenge plan is what police are suggesting. LMPD says 20-year-old Deontay Hodges Jr. turned himself in just yesterday. These are images of the crime scene right on December 20th on Ford Haven Road. Officers say they found a car in a ditch. 20-year-old Milton Ritchie was near that car, but he also was found shot several times. He died at the scene. An arrest report claims Ritchie was apparently lured to meet a girl there. A girl 15 years old, but found Hodges instead. And police say Hodges pulled out a rifle and shot Ritchie and then left with that 15-year-old girl. The report called the situation, a quote, revenge plan that included taking Ritchie's car. So Hodges specifically now charged with murder, robbery, and unlawful transaction with a minor, while the 15-year-old girl is also facing charges in connection to the incident. In a story here, we want to share this report from our Wave News team. JCTC, Jefferson Community and Technical College, they're opening their new Center for Science and Discovery really soon, described as a STEM facility with cutting-edge labs, classrooms for the students who want to make the most of these resources, promising to be a big step forward and preparing the city's future workforce. We were there to see, the applause inside the brand new building on campus. When all the work is done, supporters, investors, stakeholders say this part of Broadway will look better than ever. Wave News reporter David Mattingly finds that expectations are high for what it could also do for the surrounding neighborhood.
The corner where South First Street meets Broadway is the site of a stunning urban transformation. A former parking lot is now home to JCTC's new 40,000 square foot Center for Science and Discovery. Immediately next door, the city's largest green space outside of Waterfront Park is also taking shape. And on this day, the sound of construction gives way to a buzz of anticipation.
We're working together to try to design what we want this to look like. We know we need to own this neighborhood.
For years, the JCTC campus has been the lone bright spot of economic development in a part of the city where images of urban decay are prominent. The campus shares this section of Broadway with a former church that sits burned and abandoned. There's a former gas station surrounded by chain link fencing and razor wire. And the solution to this urban blight may come from the 8,000 students who study here. The the city's future workforce.
I look at like any abandoned building here as opportunity. I look at our young students who hopefully will keep an address here in Louisville after they graduate. I think this gives them an opportunity to see the impact they could possibly make once they leave these walls and go on into their career.
All said and done, the completed JCTC renovations are expected to top $100 million. That includes tearing down this 12-story tower and replacing it with classrooms for math and humanities.
That was our David Mattingly reporting. Now, for reference for that future workforce in the city, the average age of a JCTC student is 28 years old, and women do make up the majority of the student body at 56%. All right, after the break, we're going to touch on this cold weather prep and sort of a reminder that this is something that, as we look ahead to the weekend, the storm tracking team very much following all the latest models and data that they can look at and share with you. And that'll be something to let you know to join us a little later this hour. But we're going to take this quick commercial break to let you know about the work being done on our roads right now to try to make at least getting around town a little more bearable. We'll be right back after these messages. We're jumping right into what's going to be the big topic of conversation, likely for the rest of this week, guys, as the storm tracking team continues to monitor our forecast. And we're talking very serious, heavy winter forecast. But we know metro crews and businesses are also working hard to get ready for whatever the system is bringing this round of winter weather. We know it was a busy December for crews, and Metro Public Works taking advantage of slightly warmer temperatures for today to prepare these roads for what's coming up in the short term. So you saw images there of our cameras following Louisville snow crews. They're on standby preparing for around those 10 inches of snow. Transportation Director Bill Bell says the Metro ordered 500 tons following last month's storm. They're also adding some special additives, they say, to brine our roads at lower temperatures. Meanwhile, many hardware stores are also stocking up and really put their shelves stocked for the essentials people are going to need in the coming days. One of those included a visit down to Oscar's Hardware.
As soon as you guys start telling people something's in the forecast is when they start coming in. Always got a few people on the back end waiting to see what happens, but if you want to get something, you better come early.
Perhaps speaking to the early bird gets the worm there. And this morning we did see several incidents on the road because of this wintry mix as you started your day. We talked to Director Bell, who's encouraging drivers just to be mindful, be cautious if you have to go out and drive, to be prepared for potentially what could be the worst part of it. So have a blanket and food just in case, and water to drink. We know some temperatures with the dip coming. Shelters are also preparing. St. John Center and Nulu, they've been approved as an emergency shelter, and Codes and Regs says they're expecting more shelters to be approved and be added to the city's snow resources website. Okay. This video we're showing you here is to illustrate that frostbite doesn't take very long to set in about 15 minutes. It is important to bundle up when you're talking about the potentials that's coming. These are firefighters showing, even with what they've got on and what you take off as far as layers are concerned, that your body can lose heat actually really quickly. So it's a thermal imager that they use to find fires and victims if they need to, but it also reveals how cold someone is, their body temperature. The firefighters' faces and hands were white. That's what you'd want to see. But once you take the hat off, the white on the forehead quickly fades, and that's real-time heat leaving a body. And the demonstration, they say, shows the importance of appropriately dressing for the weather in store.
In this temperature, wearing a hat is going to be huge, but also you'll lose it from any exposed skin or any exposed surfaces. That's why people start wearing a lot of face coverings in this type of weather. But it's imperative to cover up as much as you can and limit the time that you're out in this type of wind.
Wind for sure plays a big factor in that. Your head, armpits, groins, they have the most circulation, and that can lose heat very quickly. They say if you were to get frostbite, don't apply direct heat to the area like with a pad. Just go get medical care to gently warm that part of your body up. And we know the cold is dangerous for pets as well. Veterinarians say you could judge taking your pet outside, but have the mindset of how you would feel being out there in the cold and think, do I want to subject my pet to that? They suggest paying attention to your pets, just general health, their conditions, because the cold, like for us, can be extremely dangerous for animals.
They could get hypothermia, they could get frostbite. If they have underlying respiratory issues or other diseases, it could trigger, some breathing issues.
For dog owners, to keep an eye on their paws if they have to be outside, but you've probably already thought ahead and put on those protective shoes for them to be outside. Experts do suggest, though, cleaning their paws so the salt that might be there trying to work as a brine or as a melting agent so it doesn't hurt dogs. And as mentioned, the booties would provide that extra layer of protection. Letting you all know, by the way, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harnett going to be here in the Wave Now studio a little later just to break down that forecast as much as they can for you step by step as we wind down tonight. LG&E, though, wants to make it easier to track power outages in our neck of the woods. So they're working on what they call a new proactive power outage alert to help keep you informed about how long it's going to take to get power restored somewhere and then when it gets back on. So in essence, that means outage information would be sent to you through text or an automated phone call, and alerts and updates would then be sent from the number provided on your account. Moving to some other stories to share with you tonight, when we let you know that there was an official date to start the demolition of the exploded Givaudan plant that started, in earnest this week on Monday. But demolition crews wanted to check in to see just where that progress was. And this is what we were able to stop by and see from our vantage point, our Wave News crews coming over to Clifton. You'll remember back in November 2024, the explosion killed 2 workers, hurt 11 more. This demo work, the Clifton Community Council says it should take about 40 days. We know from investigation and inspection records, digging back to see what could have caused this. It was a vent and a cooking vessel inside the factory. That's really what created all the mess to begin with. The demolition process, though, not every day. So it'll be 40 days total, of work, because the demolition contractor's only going to be there Monday through Thursdays, but there could be some work on the weekends depending on the weather. Heading over to Williamsburg, Kentucky, this massive fire, it took nearly 12 hours for crews here to get it fully under control. It started at a law office in town before it then spread to other neighboring buildings. It started around 10 last night, burning well into the morning overnight. Williamsburg fire crews said this was the largest fire that they as a town had ever seen. It took more than 100 firefighters out there actively working to put the flames out. They tell us they did have to rescue a woman from the second floor, and she needed to be taken to the hospital for smoke inhalation. And we know a firefighter was also hurt working on the ladder.
At first, I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? But when it really sank in, I was like, I could lose my home. I was like, I could lose everything I have.
It seems in his case, thankfully, he was able to come out just fine. But crews believe the fire started in an apartment and the cause is still under investigation. In an update back in the Louisville Metro, the defense says the evidence in a trial against a Southern Indiana man. So here we are crossing over to the sunny side of the river for you Indiana folks. But you'll remember, this pretty startling case of a man accused of killing his wife on Valentine's Day. The defense says that there's evidence that this all happened in a sudden moment. This was sort of the heat of the moment, as it were. That's what they're trying to make the case to the jury. As we know, Taylor Myers accused of killing his wife last February in Clark County. Prosecutors say, though, she was strangled, beaten with a wine bottle, stabbed 40 times where their children were sleeping. So them making the case that this was inordinately and extremely violent. Wave News reporter Kirsten Foote was in the courtroom today for the first round of testimony and shares what happened over a recap of today.
Day one of this trial got underway with opening statements and then emotional testimony from the victim's best friend. Both prosecutors and defense talked about a Valentine's Day dinner that Taylor had put together. They both say their relationship had been strained. Prosecutors say after the dinner, Deborah left the home briefly for some space. And prosecutors say when she got back, the assault began. They say evidence in the trial will show the assault lasted 20 to 30 minutes and will also show text messages Taylor had sent from Deborah's phone to two of her friends, where Taylor texted saying he killed her. The defense responded saying all the evidence will show is that the killing happened in the heat of the moment. Deborah's best friend took the stand first. She says they planned their weddings together and timed out having kids together. They often spent time with their kids going to the zoo, having play dates. She described the moments she learned of her friend's death.
I woke up to my daughter crying, and I went to the bathroom, and my husband went and got our daughter. I checked my phone, and the one time I leave it on silent and it somehow was face down, I woke up to 30 missed calls and the text messages, and I had to call her sister Sarah, and Sarah told me that she was gone, and that's how I found out.
Meyer has been in the Clark County Jail with no bond set since his arrest. Reporting in Jeffersonville, Indiana, Kirsten Foote, Wave News.
Appreciate Kirsten's update there. We got much more to share with you in this. Again, it's a condensed edition of tonight's live stream. These are the stories we want to break down with you at this point in our evening, and hopefully wherever you all have to be, or maybe you're thankfully breaking down the day, debriefing at home, as it were, and relaxing. Just another way to connect with us on the myriad, tools and screens that you might have at your house, on your phone, and your pocket. So always appreciative of that time you're catching up with us, and we can share what's going on with you. What we're going to do now is for the last batch of stories to share with you, and we're going to end on sort of that celebratory note, given just how historic Indiana football's win was to start the week. Just some more things that the community, the football program are all reveling in hours after the fact that they did win. So we're going to be right back with the set of messages, and we'll share the last part of tonight's Wave News Extra live stream after this. All right, folks, we welcome you back in. Perhaps the graphic for the Wave Now streamers, that's what was playing. So I may have missed a button to play for you there, but we do have more stories to share with you. This is an update in the Brooks Houck case because he's filing to appeal his murder conviction in Crystal Rogers' death. That was the major story we were following, that trial, all a large chunk of the year and in the summer. And you're familiar perhaps with the biographical connections, the relationships that were involved. But what is key to note is that Houck, along with Stephen Joseph Lawson, all found guilty in their respective trials connected to what happened to Crystal Rogers. But this filing from Houck and his attorneys cites several reasons for their appeal, including their argument that the Commonwealth did not prove a murder happened where the murder scene was, and that there was no physical evidence linking Houck to the crime. His defense attorneys also citing that there were some potential jurors who had prior knowledge of Steve Lawson being found guilty of his charges weeks before Houck's trial started. That is the claim the defense is making. Other things listed in their appeal is that Joseph Lawson's trial being combined with Brooks Houck's, and then Judge Charles Sims refusing to recuse himself from that case. Houck's team had cited past comments that Judge Sims made about Houck during a custody battle years before the trial. A reminder that in all of our years and ongoing coverage surrounding this disappearance, the trials, the case, you can always follow up as we add that information. It is right there on our website, wave3.com, in that section for you to follow along as we're able to get that information and then send it to you wherever you are. Norton Children's, and another story I want to share with you tonight, they've opened a new space they say is going to help them take better care of their cancer patients. We're going to take you inside there. The hospital group says their Cancer Institute Resource Center is going to support kids going through treatment and their families as they walk through every phase of their medical journey here. The leaders, the team involved, says this is going to bring a wide range of services all together in one place. Kentucky's Lieutenant Governor was there to talk about how the facility is going to change cancer care given in Louisville.
The Resource Center is a game changer for families, as its goal is to make what is the most stressful part of their lives a little bit better. It goes beyond medical treatment, offering support for whole family that includes mental health counseling, educational support, and financial guidance.
This new institute is at the Novak Center on East Chestnut Street, and they are accepting appointments for anyone interested in reaching out and connecting with that kind of care that they may need. In the news of the animal world, but still tied to our neck of the woods, there's a conservation group suing Fish and Wildlife, federal Fish and Wildlife, for what they say is not protecting an endangered species from Kentucky. The Center for Biological Diversity is arguing that Fish and Wildlife failed to make a decision to protect this Appalachian salamander found not just in Kentucky, but in West Virginia, and Tennessee. The group the group states that the yellow-spotted woodland salamander lives in rocky areas, and it's often targeted by mountaintop removal mining. Their lawsuit is trying to establish special protections for the salamander under the Endangered Species Act. All right, this perhaps, salamanders would exist. I don't know of a college program that might have a salamander as a mascot. That'd be pretty cool to find out. But switching gears from that animal and celebrating the identity and the connection point for Indiana students, alumni, the Hoosiers, fresh off their 16-0 national championship game with the Heisman-winning quarterback in tow, preparing for his big day at the NFL draft. But Fernando Mendoza still making time to sign some autographs today, apparently. We learned that this event was at the Dick's Sporting Goods in Bloomington, and Mendoza, from the start there, was signing autographs until 6:30. Didn't seem like the arm might be too tired, even though if you probably saw the highlights of the game, there were a couple bruises shown on that game ceiling, let's say, touchdown run that he had on the scramble on 4th down. For fans who were hoping to get Fernando's signature, they had to put wristbands on. They were distributed at that Dick's Sporting Goods in Bloomington this morning so that people could get in line until they were all gone to get their signature. Now, celebrations honoring the Hoosiers are going to continue because tomorrow, Chipotle stores across Indiana are going to offer a special deal for fans. And you see Coach Curt Cignetti's face there. There's a reason for that. It's because we've learned Coach is such a fan of the fast food brand. And from 4 until close tomorrow, customers wearing their IU gear can get buy one, get one free entrees. So the company's release says, Coach Cignetti recently shared that he eats the same Chipotle burrito bowl every day. His daily orders have made his account among the top 1% in the state of Indiana for achieving the most rewards points for Chipotle. Chipotle's chief marketing officer said that the special deal wants to reward fans and honor IU's team and the commitment to excellence, as they put it. So again, this is happening only for IU fans across Indiana, and you can stop by tomorrow, Thursday, January 22nd. The last thing I wanted to show you guys was, I'm going to pull this up so you can see that this Indiana program celebration is not over. Maybe you caught this in the Twitterverse that Upland Brewing Company, it seems, because Coach also revealing that he likes to drink a certain beverage after a win. He'd been establishing that as a bit of a tradition, let's say, a bit of a lucky superstition after winning these high-profile college football bowl games. But you see there, Coach Curt Cignetti, according to TMZ Sports, lifetime supply of beer after getting his national title. Upland Brewing Company, and you see TMZ Sports reporting that. So it seems that the good times for now are rolling, and well before Bloomington gets ready to celebrate their national champions at an official dedication, parade, ceremony that's going to be happening really soon. I'm sure Hoosier fans who were able to make that drive into campus can't wait for that to happen. All right, folks, a reminder, you see that the storm tracking team's information here, the story for the forecast before the winter storm. That is going to be the big topic of conversation. And for any story, weather, and just general news, always here at your fingertips, the digital team updating that here on wave3.com. And that's what also gets sent to your phones if you download the Wave News app as well as the Wave Weather app. And that's probably going to be a great tool to have handy, very close by as we get closer to the weekend, as we're hitting around 8:40 and we're going to wrap up tonight. A reminder, around 9 o'clock, come right back here to the Wave Now studio. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harned is going to walk you through all the models, the data, the forecast, so you can just be as prepared as they are getting all the information that they want and you should and are sharing with you, so you know exactly what to expect with the not the clock ticking, but just as time goes by and there's fewer opportunities to be as prepared as possible. So to be better prepared, better to be safe than sorry, for sure. Well, we do appreciate your time, folks, whether that was joining us for this program stream on the Wave Now app or on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. Always appreciate your time as we unpack the big stories of the day here for the night. And we hope you do join us. Kevin will be back, as well as all of our reporting team, for their stories to touch on Wave News at 11. All right, I'm Jose Sosaya. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.